All right, in this video, I wanted to talk about the another item from the Enchanted Golden Gift Boxes, the Magus Staves. These are the rare staves. They look like Warlic staves, so we'll go here real quick and show the art for you, just as a reminder. So they're going to be here. We have the water and ice versions, and as you can see, it basically looks like uh, what Warlic carries around. Um, And so these two staves are, I think they're arguably maybe even better than the ultra rare. The ultra rare ones are pretty strong, and I'll do those in the next video. But um, I guess it's kind of a toss up. They're both extremely strong. But if you remember a few weeks back during the May 4th limited time shop, the item called Claw Arm they released for defensive beast rangers or rangers, and so if you remember, it's acting as an elemental steel, so it's doing Elevuln, and then you get an Ele shield of the same amount as the Elevuln, so it's like almost like increasing the monster's resistance via Elevuln, but you're taking it for yourself. That's sort of the idea, and so we now have a couple of spellcaster staves that do that very thing. And what I wanted to show off here is basically what it does, but it comes with a compressed spell. So I think Tritent was another water option for those that like the compressed spell idea for water. There wasn't one for ice. So this is the first ice weapon for mages that has the compressed spell idea that first came about this past fall with the creation of Tritent. Basically, what I'll show off here is kind of what it does. It's a 4-hit spell, and then you have up to 121% Elevon, and then on the flip side, it's the 21% Ellie Shield. So I'm going to cast it again. I want to have you watch the Elevon increase as it hits, as you can see in the box there, as it hits. So basically, whatever your Elevon ends up being is what your Ellie Shield will be. So I'm going to cast it again. On this side, you'll see it lower and lower. So we're on the third cast. We're down to 51% for 4 rounds. And that's what's so good about this item is it's giving you multiple rounds of the Ellie shield. As long as hits land, you should be good. And so what you get about around there, once that first hit lands, it'll actually go up on the Ellie shield, but then it'll continue to lower until around, I guess around maybe 30% out of MP here. Um, and then it starts to struggle a little bit to get below that. But the simple fact that I've gotten down to 42% here on the Ellie shield makes this very, very good. And so the weapon also does a 20% damage to spells of the element of the staff. So ice for ice, water for water. So the spell that it's casting, it's taking half damage for the effect, but then it's also on the flip side, it's able to boost itself. So that's it for the Magus Staffs in a nutshell. As you can see, the elemental vulnerability just grows, right? Well, now I'm going to try and introduce some helpers, some stacking here. So what we're going to do, just to show off here real quick, just to see what kind of help we can get for it. All right, so I'm going to use Space Gauntlet. You can use Bag of Nuts, and there's some other things, obviously you can use. But so we have 1 round for 0.5, and then I'm going to do Invincible Star. I want to go ahead and do the Superstar. So now we're at 2 rounds at 25% here. So let's see what the cast does. So doing it right there, we're already at 4 rounds and 41% on the first cast. And then we're going to come back. We can't use Invincible Star, obviously, for 4 turns. So that dropped it to 3 to 25. Let's see what happens here. Now we're at 4 at 22%. Eventually, in a minute, it's going to sort of bug out and increase rounds. But I mean, getting it down to 4 rounds at 22% in a couple of rounds is not bad. We'll keep going just to see what happens here. So now this is where it increased, like I said, the number of rounds. We're now at 6 at 53%. So let's keep going and see what happens. So now we're at 6 at 39. That's not too bad. Just keep going, like I said. Now we're at 5 at 29. And this is very good for your resource heal loop playstyles because you're spending so much resources per turn. So now I'm down to 12% at 5 rounds. I'm not sure if we're ready for this guy yet. We are. So now I'm at 5 rounds at 0.1. Let's see what we managed to get to with Space Gauntlet. I have found Space Gauntlet works better than Bag of Nuts. But if you have Bag of Nuts, it's an option. So now we're at 10 rounds at 0.5. So it bugged out again right there. So the stacking is going to go a little slower, but we're now down to 41. So if you're fighting like a long tanking battle, this would work great. Now down 9 rounds at 36. What's the Elevon at? We're at 164. And you can go back on top with Power Gauntlet to increase that, of course. 9 rounds at 26 now. 9 rounds at 26% Ellie Shield's pretty damn good. And this is why this staff's so good, is because it's basically increasing your damage every turn and increasing your defense every turn. Eight rounds at 20%. Let's keep going. All right, now we're at 8 rounds at 0.09. This is probably a great place to stop. But just to see what happens, I think this is going to increase rounds and then increase it. Let's see. So now we're at 14 rounds at 51. So as you can see, you can kind of tell once you get close to 10%, Space Gauntlet's going to go ahead and increase rounds there. But this is the Magus Staves in a nutshell. To me, they're must-have for any mage. They're not going to be the best in the world for nuke mages. Unless you're running like a nuke spell to follow up with the Elevon and you just want a round or two or something for the Ellie Shield. But to me, it's actually best for beast builds that are regenerating resources. And so you're able to continuously do what I just did right there. But that is, again, the Magus Staves, the rares. And then the next video, I will do the Warcaster Staves and show off how potent those guys are.